I feel like my generation, whatever that means, is in, like, I see so many of us being called back to the garden and to homesteading and this, like, simpler, natural way of being. And it's like part of us is healing what our grandparents and parents thought was progression and things that were better. And our generation is realizing we don't want that. We want our grandparents, what our grandparents and our great grandparents had. And we're in this, like gardening, like we have to figure it out. Like if you look at big ag, it's destroying the planet. And when you go back to like permaculture and no-till and no chemicals, it's a lot of failing and figuring out and like healing our land, and it's also healing our soul. And I think that maybe some of the tech stuff probably started with our generation. I'm 38. I cannot believe I'm 38. We like MySpace and all of that, and we were consumed by technology at a certain point, and we needed that external validation, but we still had that little bit of like freedom, like super young. And we're realizing like we got to live in both worlds, and we're recognizing, and I know everybody talks about this, but like back to the roots isn't like back to our childhood, it's back to like the simpler things. And I know I talked about transition in another video. I just feel like so many of us we've been chasing this like invisible, non-existent success, for so long. Like I did pageantry and I was in an MLM and I was in sales and all the things. I'm from LA originally, and like none of it felt authentic. And rediscovering what like happiness is and joy and peace, I just see so many people going back to it, and so many people figuring it out and just doing it on their own to figure it out. And I think that's the beauty of homesteading, and as far as gardening, is like it's so safe to fail, whereas like failing in life in these other areas is so like gut-wrenching. And I feel like we fail in those areas because we have zero foundation. Because half of what we grew up with was like chasing this non-existent external thing, like we have to have followers and we have to make a certain amount of money. And like I've made the money, as a single mom, I was making 6 figures, and I've also been homeless all within a 4-year period. So, and now I'm, somewhere in the middle. I'm not even working, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and it's just crazy. I feel like there's so many of us that are going back to that, and it's hard because some of us have teenagers and their whole life has been technology, and that's what they've known. And I understand that there's people that were raised, in more rural, not in the city like me, and they're in this like in between, but mostly pulled towards technology because that's what they know. And it's hard to watch, but I think it's beautiful for my generation to really be finding this place of value in the garden, and the ability to create in the garden. Something I've been longing for is like this creative that I feel like went to sleep a long time ago. And like finding like in Michigan, like some of the weeds in fall are gorgeous, and creating things out of that, and this ability to create with nature, and healing. So much of like going back to the garden is so healing. So it's just interesting to, I don't know, that just came to my mind, and so I want to share it because I feel like so many of us are going that direction. And you can say because God's calling us that way, because the economy or whatever, but I just think it's our souls longing for purity and simplicity and whatever that is. I don't even have the words to really fully articulate it, but yeah. I think it's beautiful. And if you're not gardening, I would encourage you to go get a plant. I would kill indoor houseplants for years, and I just kept trying. They're $5. Find them in fall when they're on discount. Because there's something so healing about it. And it's not this like digging into like self-development. God, I've been like on the self-development inner healing thing for like 13 years. I'm so over it because there's always something else to fix. Go get a garden. Go get a couple potted plants. Put something in soil, and that will heal. That will heal your soul.